6th of March 2014. 8:30 p.m. Dhamma talk at Chempaka Buddhist Lodge. Sit in a comfortable posture. Keep our head and body upright, firm and without tension. Don't let our body weight down on the ground. Keep our hands balanced down on the ledge without pressing. We can also put one hand on the other without grasping. Close our eyes gently. Relax our mind and body. Although we are relaxing mind and body, we should not suffer the feeling of good or bad. Trying to do what we all should do and stop doing what we should not do. Be mindful on our normal breath. Keep nothing except breath in the mind. The practice of mindfulness is necessary every time, every moment. Just be mindful, nothing except our mind and body. The more we are mindful on the mind and body, the more we will understand the truth that they are always changing. In the beginning, we should be mindful only on the breathing or whatever we are used to be mindful. Continuous mindfulness on something can make our concentration higher. By continuous mindfulness on breathing, trying to develop our concentration. Do what we should do and abandon what we should not do. Both doing and not doing are to do only. Without attachment, we must do what we should do. Besides, we must be free from attachment to what we are doing now. We must abandon what we should not do. Besides, we should not attach to the pleasant action of abandoning. We must try to do only. If we are not mindful, we are rejecting the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness with paying attention to the pleasant action is also doing with attachment. To be doing only, we must be mindful and we must be able to stop the habit of paying attention to what we are doing now. doing as we like to do, or doing as we used to do, or doing as we know, is doing with attachment of me or mine. The practice of mindfulness is not to reject and not to attach. Breathing is also to use only, not to reject and not to attach. Not to reject, we must be mindful on the pleasant breathing. Not to attach, we must be able to abandon the habit of paying attention to the pleasant breathing. We all are breathing. Breathing is concerned with everyone. The truth of the breathing is to use only, not something we own. We should not occupy breathing as mine or yours. Because of attachment on the idea of something or someone, we are paying attention to our breathing. Both the practice of mindfulness and breathing are not to reject and not to attach, but to use only, to do only, to experience only, to know only. Most of the meditators are using the practice of mindfulness and breathing with the idea of mine or yours. We are always representing to something or someone. We cannot detach from the idea of something or someone, me or mine, you or yours. Because of attachment to someone, each of our physical, verbal and mental action represent to us our family. We are working for ourselves. We are meditating for ourselves. That is not doing only. We must understand the truth that is ever new impermanent nature. We must also practice to represent this original truth. The original truth or ever new impermanent nature is not something, not someone. Just to use only, to experience only, to know only. Sitting, standing, walking, speaking, meditating, whatever we do, we are using the ever new impermanent nature. Because of not knowing this original truth, we misunderstand someone is sitting, standing, walking, speaking, and meditating. We must be able to accept the truth of ever new impermanent nature. We must also be able to abandon the idea of something or someone. The longer the sitting meditation, weak or strong suffering of pain will be evident. In this case, we must be able to be mindful on the pain. The object to be mindful may change from time to time. The knowing must be just pleasant happening. If we are mindful on the breathing, knowing must be pleasant happening. If we are mindful on the pain, knowing must be pleasant happening. Trying to know nothing except pleasant happening. That pleasant happening is also to know only, not to pay attention, not to grasp as mind. There are a lot of attachment in our mind. Everyone and everything is in the mind. The mind occupies everything and everyone. Now, trying to know nothing except pleasant happening. Just know pleasant happening and trying to remove everything or everyone from the mind. What I am guiding is not to reject and not to attach. If you are not practicing like this, you are rejecting. Although you are practicing, if you cannot stop paying attention to the practice, you are practicing with attachment. Trying to do only. Doing with attachment is our habit. If we are grasping our habits, we can never be free from the idea of me or mine, something or someone. We can use our mind and body. We must also be able to detach from the idea of me or mine. The idea of me or mine is strongly rooted in the mind. We cannot destroy this attachment by ourselves. To solve this problem, we must rely on Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. Not only meditation, but also doing all good deeds is necessary. We must also abstain from all evil things. We must be able to keep our mind clean and pure. Because of attachment to our own desire, we are doing good deeds as we like. If we listen the Dhamma, we will listen what we like or what we used to. When we sit for meditation, we will meditate, we will use the time we went the place we went, the method we went. Although we are doing what we should do, we are still grasping our desire and ourself as me or mine. We must be able to do good. We must also be able to abandon the idea of me or mine, something or someone. Trying to do what we should do without attachment. Trying to know the pleasant happening without attachment. Knowing is also to know only, to use only, not to grasp as mine, something. We must be able on breathing or pain. We must also be able on the knowing of the breathing or knowing of the pain. Besides, we must also be able to be mindful on the pleasant action of mindfulness. We must be mindful on the breathing, and then trying to be mindful on the knowing of the breathing. Breathing is also to use only, not to attach. Knowing of the breathing is also to use only, not to reject and not to attach. Pleasant action of mindfulness is also to use only, to do only, not to reject and not to attach. I am guiding the middle way. To be able to follow the middle way, we must be able to detach from the limit of method, person, time and place. Because of attachment to the limit of method, we are paying attention to this method or that method. Not using the method is also rejecting mistake. We must use one method or another. We must abandon the habit of paying attention to the method we are using. We all are using our life to be using only. We must be able to abandon the habit of paying attention to each of our life. We can pay attention to someone or ourselves. The action of paying attention is necessary both to do and to abandon. Then not to abandon the habit of paying attention is attachment. Paying attention to someone is not necessary all the time. Because of attachment to do so, we are always paying attention to someone or another. If we check our mind, we will always see someone in the mind. This is our habitual mistake. We cannot live without someone. We cannot live without something, without the idea of something. Something or someone is also to use only, not to reject and not to attach. To be using only, we must be able to abandon using the idea of something or someone. Because we believe something or someone is true. Something or someone is true for us. If we are able to abandon this habit, we can understand only ever new impermanent nature is true. Because of doing wrong, our knowing is also wrong. If we can stop doing wrong, wrong understanding may disappear. The truth is just cause and effect. Various good effects are caused by various good action. Various bad results are caused by various wrong or bad action. Just cause and effect. No one is making cause, or no one is suffering. Something is not true, not something is true. Someone is also not true, not someone is true. Ever new impermanent nature is not something, not someone, but to use only, to experience only, to know only. We should not think about what we want to do or how we want to do. Just think about what we should do and how we should do. Abandoning all evil things, doing all good deeds, and keeping the mind clean and pure are what we all should do. Doing only, knowing only, experiencing only, using only are how we all should do. Don't dwell on the past, don't dream of the future. Just be mindful on the pleasant happening. This is using the pleasant moment in the best way. The more we think about the past, more attachment in doing so. The more we dream about the future, more attachment in this action. To be free from attachment, we should abandon our habitual action. Teaching or guiding is also to do only, without attachment. Practicing mindfulness or meditation is also to do only, without attachment. As a teacher, we must try to do only. As a follower, you must try to do only. If we see from the side of middle way, both the teacher and follower must to do only, to experience only, to know only, to use only. This is the practice of detachment. Mindfulness with attachment is easy. Every meditator is practicing meditation with attachment. We need to change from attachment to detachment. We all must use attachment to be detachment. If we cannot detach from our own practice of mindfulness, we are not following the middle way. If we cannot detach from our own experience, we are not following the middle way. If we cannot detach from our own knowing or understanding, we are not following the middle way. To be able to follow the middle way, we must be able to detach from our action, from our experience, and from our knowing or understanding. The practice of detachment is abandoning the habit of paying attention to our action, our experience, and our knowing. Our teaching is over now. Let's share our merits. We all good deeds we have done day now be dedicated to all sentient beings. May all beings rejoice and share in our merits. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.